Rolls, huh?
I got the mouse, so we're off mute. People can hear us.
We're off mute. Okay, good morning, everyone. Our final legislative update will.
We just do a sound check. Holly, can you hear us just fine? Okay, great.
So good morning, everyone. This is the Deschutes County Legislative Update. This is Friday, June 27th, 2025 at 8 o'clock. So legislative update. We do have two items of business for the Board of Commissioners that the final end of year issues and topics today. So with our published agenda, item number 2, consideration of resolution correcting scrivener's error and replacing a resolution. So Cam, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Cam Sparks, Budget Manager for the record. I spoke to this on Wednesday, but I'm seeking approval of Resolution 2025-034, which corrects the scrivener's error on Resolution 2025-007 for the TRT fund.
Great. And you just mentioned two numbers were kind of backwards in the distribution.
Yes, the program expense and the transfers out got transposed, so we just need to flip those.
So is there a motion?
So move, resolution number 2025-034, correcting resolution number 2025-007.
Second.
Hey, any other discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Dare,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang,
Yes.
and Chair will vote yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Item number 3, consideration of a notice of an intent to award contract for Tumalo Road paving. Cody Smith or Chris?
Good morning. I'm here.
Yep.
For the record, Cody Smith, County Engineer. And thanks for the opportunity for letting me present this here this morning in advance of the long break coming up here. So yeah, Road Department prepared solicitation documents for the paving of Tumalo Road project. Project includes a grind and inlay of the entire 3.6 mile length of Tumalo Road, some full depth pavement repairs in some key areas along that corridor, and then also some similar full depth repair type work around the Deschutes River crossing bridge at the west end of Tumalo Road. It also includes a thin lift overlay of Swally Road between Tumalo Road and Twin Bridges Road, and then delineation work on both those routes. So department received 3 bids for this project on June 11th. Before you this morning is a notice of intent to award to the lowest responsive bidder, Tri-County Paving of Redmond, in the amount of $2,150,814.50. Like always, publishing of the notice of intent to award will begin a 1-week protest period for parties to protest award of the contract. And then after that protest period's up, subject to no protest being received, the contract would be awarded administratively. We're anticipating this project's going to start work in late July, subject to getting a schedule from the contractor once we get contract awarded. Anticipating about 4 weeks of work here on this project, and the contract completion date is September 30th of this year. And with that, happy to answer any questions, but otherwise throw it back to the board chair.
Great, thank you so much. It's great to have a couple bidders here, generally within the engineering estimate, and being able to implement these projects out there. Any other discussion or motion?
I can move approval of board order number 2025-025, an intent to award contract or a notice of intent to award a contract for the Tumalo Road paving project.
It actually says 024. I think you said 025.
Yeah, I believe I believe 024 is the document number. That's what I have showing on my staff report here. I don't have the document number request right in front of me, so I'm going to go with 024. But
Motion corrected.
Okay.
And I'm seconding it.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Chang. Noticed and
Yes.
Okay. And Commissioner Dare.
Yes.
And chair votes yes. So thank you very much. That's a little bit of county business right before the end of the fiscal year and a 4th of July break. So at this time, any other commissioner updates? I see we have Doug here, but any other thoughts from commissioners?
I just want to thank Representative Reese Iverson and Representative Emerson Levy for the Juniper bill that actually was funded. And 5.2 million for 7 counties. I feel like at least it's a start. And the good news is yesterday talking to the head of Soils and Water, the board said that he would like to use some of their money to match this money. So we can maybe get some more work done, especially for the 21,000 high-risk properties in Deschutes County. And I'm sure a couple of them will probably have junipers they need to take out. We're down to 3 insurance companies that are now writing in the city of Sisters. So we've got a lot of cleanup to do.
And I'll acknowledge the Core 3 project is on the capital construction list for $10 million, which is a statewide asset for a possible training for all of Eastern Oregon, basically, but all of our local police, fire, sheriff's office, burn tower, administrative building, and our Core 3 facility that Deschutes County has been so involved in. As I say, I'll just acknowledge that's a statewide asset that's coming together. I was at a meeting yesterday and the different departments of the state are already talking about what can be done out there in the value of the state. Commissioner Chang?
And I'd like to highlight the $3.1 million investment in a child mental health facility that was championed by Representative Levy and Senator Broadman. When we met with them and Representative Sanchez last year, about a year ago, to discuss this at St. Charles Hospital, those 2 legislators got very excited about the concept and have been incredible champions of this amazing project that's going to be moving forward that will serve youth acute and respite care needs, not just here in Central Oregon, but probably from across the eastern part of the state. So many thanks.
Yep, very, very exciting on that one also. So with that, Doug, keeping track of what's going on in the legislature, very exciting over there, news all over the place. So yeah, what do we got going?
Yeah, good morning. On behalf of the county, thank you. Happy to be here. Doug Riggs, and then Corey Barber is with us this morning as well. So thanks, Corey, for joining us. Wow, a lot going on. We're in the final day to 3 days of the session. I was here late last night until about 7:30, and it's about as clear as mud as to which day they will adjourn. So lots going on. I think I'll hit on the overall session here in a second. I just want to hit on the Christmas tree bill, which the commissioners just mentioned, and Central Oregon really did well in the Christmas tree bill. In fact, I'd argue that our region did as well as just about any region in the Christmas tree bill as far as individual asks in what's been a very difficult budget and where we've seen other areas underfunded. Just raise a couple of the issues that the commissioners already raised. Core 3, we got $10 million. It's not the full ask, but to get anything in this budget is pretty remarkable. I would say 80% of projects, 85% of projects were not funded at any level, including some major projects kind of in the same category as Core 3, already received funding, moving towards construction and got $0. So to get $10 million is fantastic. I had a long conversation with Representative Paul Evans last night. He is going to bring his Spartacus bill back in the special session. It's going to be his top priority. He's received a commitment from leadership to help him move that bill in the short session in February. That will include another fiscal ask. So we're really hoping that we can fill out the remainder of that Core 3 fiscal ask in February. So that's very encouraging. Second issue, and this actually surprised me. I wasn't sure if we were going to get money for the juniper removal water restoration projects. We did. We got the full amount that we asked for in the final days, $5.2 million. It includes money to COIC to help coordinate the projects, as well as a change, which is COIC will now coordinate the monitoring the allocation of monitoring funding. So that's an opportunity for COIC to really dig in on that role as well. Every one of the 7 areas received an increase over last year, which is pretty unusual. And that's a testament to the success of those programs. The projection was that they would clear 4,000 acres. They ended up clearing 16,000 acres. And in many areas, we're seeing streams and tributaries already showing signs of life that haven't shown signs of life in quite some time. So that's very positive. We mentioned the child psychiatric facility at St. Charles, $3 million. That's fantastic. That's a key gap in coverage, and something that I think our region can really be a leader on helping address. I'll mention also the Mosaic Medical Center got funding for one of their projects. They got $4 million, which is very positive as far as being able to treat folks who need healthcare in Central Oregon. They've got clinics all around the region. So again, very successful. Crook County got money for their courthouse, confirmation of money for their courthouse. So there were quite a few funding requests. Now, what wasn't funded were a lot of the individual cities had requests for housing infrastructure. Those did not get funded, but there has been $40 million put into a fund for housing infrastructure that cities and counties can bid on, as well as some money for industrial site readiness that's in a general fund through Business Oregon that the communities can bid on. So that funding will be available by RFP at some point. So going back to the session, we could see today be the final day. It's very uncertain. Late last night at 6:30, the Committee on Transportation Reinvestment passed a slightly modified version of the earlier transportation bill, House Bill 2025. It did 2 things that were different. Number one, it removed the kind of the sales taxes on new and used vehicles. And then it removed the inflationary adjustment that had been added into the gas tax increases. And then it changed the gas tax increase to a one-time immediate 12-cent a gallon increase instead of a 10 plus 5 plus 5. So that bill did pass. It passed on an 8-4 vote. One Republican, Kevin Mannix from Salem, voted for it. All the other 4 Republicans on the committee voted against it. It really is unclear whether or not that has a path for passage, either in the House or the Senate. At least one Democrat in the House has announced that she will likely vote against the bill, possibly 2. Representative Paul Evans asked to be taken off the committee, so he was taken off the committee. It's uncertain whether or not he'll be a yes vote or a no vote on the floor. And in the Senate, Senator Mark Meek, who was removed from the committee by the Senate president earlier in the week, has announced that he's going to be a no. And actually, he walked out of the session yesterday, did not come back. I'm not sure if he's coming back today. So I would say that the passage of that bill is uncertain at this point. There is another bill that just got scheduled this morning that might be a second Christmas tree bill, House Bill 5548. That is scheduled in Ways and Means at 1:30. No amendments have been posted. Keep an eye on that. That might be a bill that might include funding that might be designed to incentivize members to vote for the transportation bill. So that's all connected here. Wildfire. We finally saw a wildfire funding mechanism of some sort pass. It is a tax on tobacco pouches. That's a tobacco product that had not heretofore been taxed. So they are taxing that product. They believe they can raise about $40 million per year on that product. And Senator Jeff Golden, who testified in support of that bill, as well as other packages, indicated that in all total, with this package, the legislature will have set aside about $260 million of biennium for wildfire fighting efforts and mitigation efforts. So I don't think anyone thinks this is the end of the road. I think that they understand they're going to have to come back with a more permanent and more appropriate funding source, but they could not agree on, taking money out of the rainy day fund or taking money from the kicker or other funding sources. So that's what they landed upon. And we'll
Doug,
see where that goes.
Doug,
Yes.
my understanding was that they would get $45 billion from both this nicotine pouch tax and from the interest from the rainy day fund. So can you tell us how much exactly they're going to get from the nicotine pouch tax portion of that?
Good question, Commissioner. I'd have to go back and take a look at the fiscal statement on the bill. I listened to the floor debate, but I didn't read that. But I think you're right. I think it was between $40 and $45 million in that particular mechanism. There's
Both
also
of those
money in
things.
some of the Christmas tree bills, so I can go take a look at that.
I actually have it here, Doug. I from the hearing, I heard 60 million over the next 2 years. Was that
1/6.
estimate? 60 million over a 2-year period.
Just from the this nicotine.
Just from the
pouch.
nicotine.
That's a lot of
Mhm.
tobacco. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and all told, Golden says it adds up to about $260 million of biennium. They had some money in the Christmas tree bill, then they had some money in the Department of Forestry bill, et cetera. So there are, I think, 5 or 6 different funding sources for wildfire efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, one of the things I was watching in that bill, I think it's 3940, that, I was very supportive of and wanted to see move, but didn't see how were going to be able to do without additional revenue, was the rate decreases for rural rangeland owners. So do you have any idea how much, the net impact of that decrease was? And yeah, I'm wondering if the nicotine pouch tax basically only covers that and doesn't really get us any farther.
Yeah, Commissioner, that's a very good question. In fact, Senator Nash raised that very same issue during the debate on the Senate floor yesterday, and the response was that still needs to be calculated. That this is, this nicotine patch idea came up relatively late, and so they haven't been able to calculate the exact reduction. Senator Nash mentioned that he pays more in that fee than he pays in his entire state taxes for his property and insurance. So you're right, it is very high. I think they need to come up with that calculation, and we'll probably be working on that in the next few weeks. So, a related issue, which we talked about before, Senate Bill 75, which is our rural ADU bill, that got also kind of held hostage in the House Rules Committee. Senate Bill 83, which is the wildfire maps issue, had been held up as well. That was the elimination of the wildfire maps, and it failed in 2 different attempts to pull it out of committee when it was a Republican effort to pull it from committee. It was a party line vote, and then on Monday, Representative Emerson Levy, a Democrat, our Democrat from Bend and Redmond, was the one to pull it from committee, and her motion passed almost unanimously. So she was successful at pulling that wildfire map elimination bill out of committee, getting it passed. What that did is left Senate Bill 75 stranded all alone in the Rules Committee, and so we had to scramble and enlisted both our delegation and Senator Golden, and went and talked to the speaker and got the speaker to release Senate Bill 75, and we got that out to the floor. And that is headed through the process and hopefully towards passage, so we can clarify that discrepancy between the fact that wildfire maps are no longer going to exist. So Senate Bill 75 is also on the way, hopefully, to the governor's desk. Just a couple more big issues. The transient lodging tax got through committee barely. Got through the House by 1 vote. Representative Greg Smith from North Jefferson County East was the key deciding vote on that bill. Got to the Senate and appears to be dead. Did not make it through the Senate Finance Committee. So it appears that the TLT, unless something changes between now and the end of the day, transient lodging tax reform will not move forward this session. Other big issues which we talked about before: House Bill 2005, the aid and assist, et cetera, bill. Lots has been going back and forth. Holly, and I know you've been engaged in those discussions. That bill's on the way through. And then, community corrections, one of the big disappointments this session, after years without an adjustment, and finally a decision to redo the cost study, and it fell on deaf ears when it got to the leadership and the co-chairs. So maybe we'll see something in this final Christmas tree bill. We'll keep an eye on it, but lots of disappointment in the building about, the community corrections budget. It's going to make for very tough decisions around the state. And maybe we can come back in September. The E-Board has set aside close to $500 million in reserve funding that they might be able to spend. So we'll have another opportunity in 2.5 months to be able to make a case for those projects. But in the meantime, counties have to make budget decisions. And so it's a pretty difficult situation, I think, for many, many counties and a lot of the programs around the state. So I think I'll end there. I'm sure there's stuff I've left out. It's been fast and furious this week. I think everyone is ready to go home. Several Republicans and a couple Democrats have already left the building and won't come back. So they're, the votes are, if you look at the vote totals, it'll be 42 or 44 votes, sometimes 50 votes in the House instead of 60. So they're just members who had other obligations, funerals or weddings or graduations that they had to go to. So it may not be the full contingent of members voting today and tomorrow and Sunday. And I see Peter's hand is up.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning. Doug, do you have any updates on Senate Bill 1154, which is related to declarations of groundwater areas of concern and management areas? I saw that there's a consideration of third reading this morning. Is that looking like, I'm on the face of it, it looks like that may pass?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 1154 is on the move. It is third reading today. It's already passed the Senate. So if it passes the House, it would move on to the governor's office.
Great. Thank you.
Commissioner Chang.
Yeah, Doug, with all those legislators already leaving, can you describe how the transportation package that includes new fees and taxes moves through the session? I mean, I know that there's 3/5 or 2/3 majority votes required on certain kinds of revenue bills, and I don't know how that works when not all 60 or 30 people are on the floor.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And hold on, let me. I'm setting up a backup because my battery on my laptop may end up dying here in a moment. So I might have to switch to my phone. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and switch to my phone. If I can just hold on just a second.
You're on mute.
Good question, Commissioner, and that's the $64,000 question. It is a tax, many taxes actually in that bill. And so in the House, with a Republican voting in favor of it, if it got all the Democrats voting, even with Representative Wall-Win out, although she's been undergoing serious cancer treatment, but she has appeared a couple of the days in the last week, so it's possible she could be brought back. So it's more conceivable that bill could pass in the House. When it gets to the Senate without Senator Mark Meek, it would require a Republican to vote. And the Republicans who might have voted for the package and were negotiating on the package include Senator Bruce Starr, Senator Suzanne Weber, and Senator Dick Anderson. Senator Starr and Senator Weber were on the committee last night and both spoke out against the bill and voted against the bill and are very unhappy about the negotiations. I don't think that Senator Anderson would be willing to vote for that bill if his colleagues are voting against the bill. So it's the path to victory on that bill is difficult to see at this point.
Okay, thanks for that. And so, I mean, just to clarify, the way the rules work, it's 2/3 or 3/5 of the people who show up for the floor vote, or it's 2/3 or 3/5 of the total House or Senate?
It's 3/5 of the body must be present on a tax vote. So that's a complicating, and I'll double check that, but you know, it's been a long time since there have been so many people gone. But Senator Kim Thatcher is out, Representative Reski's out. I know those are the two who are permanently out, and then yesterday Meek walked out, and I'm not sure if he's coming back. So, you know, most of us last night after the work session were standing around in the hall and scratching our heads as to whether or not there is any possibility this could get through the Senate. So, but again, as I mentioned earlier, there's a second Christmas tree bill, House Bill 5548, that is now scheduled early this morning into a brand new Ways and Means Committee work session at 1:30. You know, that maybe perhaps that's the bill they're trying to add ornaments to entice certain members to vote yes. But it's difficult for me to see a path, at least at this point. But stranger things have happened at the end of the session.
Okay, and then just one more clarification on the rules. So 3/5 need to be present, but do you need is 3/5 basically a quorum requirement, or is it a majority vote requirement? Like, do you need 3/5 to pass something, or do you just need 3/5 to vote on it?
No, you need 3/5 to pass something. Yeah, it's in the Constitution. The only other supermajority requirement is for taking money out of the rainy day fund, and that requires a 2/3 vote.
Thank you. Commissioner Derrick.
Doug, I have a question about the Terrebonne funding, the 2.5 million. I was referred by Representative Breeze, Iverson, to get a hold of Business Oregon, and they told me that wouldn't qualify, and yet are you saying that there still might be a possibility that it might land somewhere for the 2.5 million? Finish their sanitation system?
Commissioner, I would doubt very much that project would go through. If anything is included in a second Christmas tree bill, it'll be amounts of money in districts where they think a legislator might vote for a transportation bill. And I do not see Breeze Iverson voting for a transportation bill this session.
Okay.
Yeah, could be wrong, but.
Oh, and what about the fair funding? Exactly what are fairs across the state going to be getting? We originally get 52,000. Did that number get pumped up to 158,000 for every fair? How did that work out?
I haven't seen the breakdown. There were 3 different fair allocations in the budget, and AOC is working on putting those all together. There was $5.2 million in House Bill 5006, and there was another smaller allocation in the earlier budget bill. So I would have to go back and add those together and see what the amount per fair would be. I haven't seen that breakdown.
Okay, so should I ask AOC then? They might know.
Yeah, I put that request in yesterday, and I'm hoping that they're gonna. I think they're working on it already because they're getting similar questions from other commissioners as well.
Okay, yes, I know. I'm talking to other commissioners across our area, and they're
Right.
all in the dark.
Yeah.
Anybody else, department heads, elected officials? So it's a snapshot of what's going on. This could be today, could be slipping into the weekend here. So you know, I'm seeing all the press releases from the Democrats and Republicans in my email chain. You know, as things are flowing here right now. But thanks for representing over there and keeping an eye on things.
Oh, I did just note one more thing. Doug, I had a phone call yesterday from Community Solutions, the director here, and they were cut from 40,000 a year for their services to 21,000.
That's internal, Commissioner.
It is?
Yeah, I can talk to you about it briefly
Okay.
afterwards, but we've had a lot of conversations with Kat yesterday to clarify that situation. But that's an internal situation, not a state legislature.
It isn't? I mean, why, that's so significant.
They will be funded for their services for fiscal year 26, for all the services they
I
provide.
mean, not the
We-
40,000. Okay, forget it.
Okay. Anything else? So,
Chris came up,
follow up, was that,
I saw Chris turned his camera on, I wasn't sure if he was.
we got something, Chris?
No, I'm just checking my hair.
Oh, right.
Thank you, though.
Well, so yeah, we'll have another follow-up. It'll be a couple weeks for the Deschutes proper. The media coverage will start wrapping this up and newspaper article probably is the next thing that we'll see. And then department heads and elected officials for specific items back through Deschutes County proper. We're not having a board meeting for a couple weeks. And then, as I say, we'll have a debrief session also. Commissioner Chang.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to, I asked to raise during the legislative meeting this morning. So the NACO annual conference is in a couple of weeks, July 11th through 14th. And they sent us a notice asking if we want to identify a voting delegate because we won't have a vote otherwise. I was going to the meeting primarily to serve as one of the vice chairs of policy subcommittee, the public lands subcommittee on county payments. And I'm also serving on a panel during the conference. But if we would like Deschutes County to be able to vote on any of the resolutions, you all could choose to identify me as the delegate for Deschutes County. Couple of things, for example, that we might want to be able to vote on. There's the perennial resolution to extend Medicaid benefits to people who are incarcerated. So when people are put into our jail, their Medicaid benefits are stripped away, and then the sheriff's office needs to absorb the costs of their health care. So that's one example of a resolution that would be good for the county to vote yes on. And another example would be you all may have seen the chatter from Commissioner DeGroot yesterday about extending PILT payments or increasing PILT payments to counties that have very small populations. And that's a perennial resolution at NACO as well. So I'm happy, there are many things that I know we don't agree on the Board of Commissioners. So I'm happy to just go as a non-voting member, but if we have someone at the conference and you would like someone to be a voting delegate, you could choose to identify me that way at this point.
Then the NACO second vice president voting, we've got a few, whatever they call it, a few votes relative to our population nationally. I know Association of Oregon Counties kind of coordinates that. My thought is, please represent Deschutes County, acknowledging that, we do have a difference of opinion, but as I say, you can represent. I'm not opposed to that.
I just want to go on the record that Oregon has 34% of people on Medicaid. And I realize that it's a problem for our jails, but I couldn't support that. 34% is, it's at the really high end in the nation of people on Medicaid.
But incarcerated folks having that healthcare taken away?
Well, we're already at 34%. So is there,
Well, the way I see it is that, I mean,
Now will we
You're
have,
already
what,
involved.
37%?
yeah,
I don't know, how many people do we have in jail or in prisons?
It's a
Uh,
substantial amount of the people who are in our jail who would be eligible for Medicaid or who had Medicaid before they were incarcerated. So, but yeah, again, on that specific resolution, if we are not, if we don't get Medicaid coverage extended for those people, then the sheriff's office needs to pay for their medical care out of their taxing districts.
yeah, so, and I support that resolution. Yeah, so, yeah, please proceed, represent, Association of Oregon Counties, you'll be in a cohort of commissioners from around the state, so yeah, just, as I say, that second vice president vote, that'll be the delegate numbers, as AOC, people that are there, I'll coordinate. Okay, well, thanks for representing on that, and then Doug Riggs.
Yeah, I forgot to turn my sheet over and look at the last three items.
Oh, the next page. Oh.
Yeah, there's more. Just let me say a couple of things quickly. Couple of things that moved. House Bill 2089, the tax foreclosure bill that Representative Levy and others helped lead, passed, and both the president and the speaker have signed it, so it's off to the governor's desk. Senate Bill 1153, which is the water transfer bill that the governor's office came up with, which was negotiated over and over, is not moving forward. It did not pass. And then I mentioned they also, I know Commissioner Dare, you've asked about that. There's $1 million in the Christmas tree bill for wolf depredation activities. So those are three items also that moved or did not move, as the case may be.
So the wolf money did move,
It did.
yes.
$1 million.
And then water reuse, I think, is in there too. I don't know if it was in its own bill or what the status was there, but that's a topic that I do support.
Yep, 2169. That also moved.
Doug, the wolf depredation funding, do you know whether that's an increase from last biennium or a decrease?
That is a good question, but the wolf people seem fairly satisfied with that amount. So maybe it was that they were relieved that it wasn't being cut, but I'll check on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Lee Randall has like an update on HB 2688. I don't know if you want to give any more context there.
Please.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Lee Randall, Facilities. The 2688 is a bill to expand prevailing wage to offsite fabrication of certain materials. It would affect both the road department and facilities projects. So I was just curious, I've been watching it and just wondering if there's any additional detail other than what I'm seeing on Bill Tracker. It looks like it may be going to a vote in the Senate, if I'm reading that correctly.
It got referred back to Ways and Means. There's still an effort to get that out to the floor, and I think both AOC and LOC are urging their members to let their legislators know that they oppose that bill. That has been quite a big debate. The vote on the floor was 31-22. Has not been a Senate vote yet, so that is still in process, and it's one of the bills that's still technically alive today, although it's not. I'm just looking at the schedule right now, and it is not. It hasn't hit the House floor yet, the Senate floor yet.
Okay. I would just raise it as a potential opportunity to oppose, or perhaps we just rely on AOC, but I just wanted to bring that to the forefront again.
Yeah, one of the big problems with that bill is that it does not define its terms. So the term bespoke is not
right
defined any place in the bill, and so no one can tell you exactly what projects or what items that would apply to, and it leaves it up to potentially determination that could lead to very high costs.
Yep. So
Thanks.
okay. Just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was able to watch a little bit of that floor debate yesterday, and that's exactly what they were revolving around. It's just the terminology there. Interesting.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else? So yeah, 40 minutes of legislative update this morning. Thank you so much. Best wishes and thanks for our legislators. This is a pressure cooker moment for Oregon in a uncertain times, but let's all work to get through this together. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Commissioner Adair.
I do want to ask you, Doug, I just heard where Oregon is now going to be last in the nation for pharmacies. I know they were working on a pharmacy bill to help like people in Heppner with their pharmacies in Condon. Did anything get through? Because apparently this September, we will be last in the nation.
That is a good question. I'd have to check. I didn't see any specific bill that would assist rural pharmacies pass. I know that's been a big topic in previous sessions, but Emma and Corey and I can check on that.
Okay, because
I see Emma just came off the mute, so she might have some details.
okay.
Yeah, I was following the pharmacy PBM stuff a little bit closely. And as far as I'm concerned, nothing happened. The pharmacist kind of walked away from the table. And the bill and any negotiations that happened just kind of collapsed.
Yeah, that's so tragic because Rite Aid is pulling out one of them in Bend. And we're going to have the one at the north end that has no merchandise on the shelves, but it is a pharmacy. So I was just really hoping. I knew the people that were testifying. I'm sorry that didn't go anywhere.
Okay, so one other item for Deschutes County business. I see county legal up there. Is this Dave? Is that possibly Dave? Should be. So just the clarity on the sheriff's appointment process, there was an email went out yesterday with Steve Dennison, our clerk, confirming that it had words around residency requirements. And I was on the radio yesterday saying have to be an elector in the district before 12 months of this appointment process. Is that still the clarity?
So you're asking what the residency requirement is?
Yeah, just for clarity, one more time.
We've concluded it's for an appointment, it's at the time of appointment. However, if the person then wants to run, they have to have residency for a year prior to the election. So if you appoint anybody, they would have to have established residency and maintained it for a year prior to the election. But as long as they're a resident at the time of the appointment, that would be okay.
So yeah, I was on the radio yesterday saying the opposite, that somebody needed to be in the county for a year before that. So
yeah, Steve was getting a lot of information from Secretary of State that wasn't necessarily kind of triangulating on this, but we ultimately worked through it, and that's our opinion. Is that as far as an appointment, now with the people you have already interested, I think that's probably a moot issue. But regardless, yeah, if they have residency established, and that doesn't just mean they're here. They have to have registered to vote. They have to have a domicile here. They can't be hanging out at Motel 8 and saying that they have a residency here. They have to actually, it has to be legit and real. So I'm not sure that's going to occur in the time period that you're working under with anybody that might be interested.
Yep, not a problem. As I say, I just on the radio yesterday, I said somebody needed to be in the county for that year before, which is not the case. So that's all, just acknowledging that. So I thought I had the latest information. Now it's clear.
Yeah, I don't think any large counties ever appointed a sheriff that wasn't a resident.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just the legality.
I think some of the Eastern Oregon counties that might have occurred in the past simply because they need bodies and didn't have people. But I think in larger counties, I don't believe that's ever occurred.
Oh yeah, not a problem. Just getting clear. Okay, anything else for this meeting? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Take care.
Yes. Good luck, Doug.
Thanks, everyone.